Alright, what's up guys? In the past two videos I went over how I'm going to scale the bleed damage for another bleed gladiator, which I'm currently on one. This is just a regular Amotokai. I created this guy like 2, maybe 3 seasons ago, so he's over here on standard. But a lot of gems have changed since then. Like, I have a lot of gems over here. These vicious projectiles you can no longer get anymore. Supported skills deal 13% or 30% more physical damage over time. You can no longer get these mods on these gems anymore. These are all now considered legacy. And because these are all legacy gems, they are no longer in the game. They were taken out to this season actually. Expedition was the change. So I hopped onto this character because they're not doing any more gem changes in the patch notes from what I had seen. So I was just going to go over a general idea of what type of gems we're going to be using for this bleed bow character. Now I do have on the window capture, and the game is the only thing that is being shown, but I have my notepad that I'm able to alt tab to while I'm doing this video. So I know what we're going to be scaling the damage of bleed with. So off the jump we're going to be using Rain of Arrows. And as you can see right here, I do have my Rain of Arrows, and it fires 18 additional arrows. Ensnaring Arrow is another gem, hopefully we'll be able to incorporate into the build, because what Ensnaring Arrow does is it fires an arrow that remains in the ground behind its final target, tethering that enemy to the Ensnaring Arrow. Now, ensnared enemies always count as moving. And if you remember, as we were reading through how to scale bleed damage, moving targets take triple damage. So Ensnaring Arrow will always make stationary targets or bosses take triple damage if you get Ensnaring Arrow off. But I said this in my last video, I'm a very, very, very lazy player. And I'm very lazy. So in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, oh, Ensnaring Arrow, I'll link that to a Maloney's. If I can get a Maloney's mechanism, that way it's just less stuff. It is less stuff that I have to deal with. Less clicking and all that other good stuff. Just, I don't want to deal with it. Let it auto-fire on its own. I'm lazy. I don't want to deal with it. I might just put this in a Maloney's. Who knows? But Ensnaring Arrow is a great gem to have within the build, but we're doing Rain of Arrows. Unbound Ailments. Let's see if Unbound Elements is the same. Let's run over here. Where is it at? Unbound Elements. Let me just type it in at the bottom. Right here. Unbound Elements. So supported skills have 35% increased duration of elements on enemies. Now we were looking at Crimson Dance, and Crimson Dance needs 8 stacks for the quadruple damage. But that's only if you have 8 stacks, and you need to have all 8 stacks, but there's a duration on the bleeds that last for 5 seconds. So if you can build up 8 stacks within 5 seconds, having the increased duration will be able to help you increase the amount of time that you have to get 8 stacks. But supported skills have 35% increased effect of non-damaging elements on enemies. We don't care about that. Supported skills deal 10% more damage with elements. This is the new one. This one has 17% more damage with elements with 50% increased duration at level 16. So more damage with ailments means that the bleed, the actual bleed, not the hit of the bleed, but the actual bleed will deal more damage. Now, more is multiplicative. It is a multiplier. When you think of the word more, think multiplication. When you see the word increased, think of addition. Now, basic mathematics, when you multiply two numbers together, you will always get a higher number. Depending on if you're messing with decimals or that type of stuff. Generically, you're always going to get a bigger number out of multiplication. When you are doing increased, think of addition. It is adding to the number you already have. When you look at the word reduced, think subtraction. It's only subtracting numbers. When you see the word less, think division. Now, if you're dividing two numbers, you might end up with decimal points of 0.00 something, and it's going to be a way less number than if you just subtracted two numbers. So, two words that I want to stay away from is less and increased. I could deal with reduced, but I don't want the word less. And for example, let me give you chain. Where's chain at? Chain right here. Supported skills deal 30% less damage. We don't want chain. That's taking away from us. Chain is something we do not want. We do not want fork. Supported skills deal 10% less projectile damage. Now, even though we had gone through all the bleed stuff, and we know projectile damage does not scale with bleed at all, it does nothing for bleed, it's still 10% less of anything, and less is a word that I'm staying away from. I don't want to divide my number by anything, especially when it's my damage. I don't want to divide my damage, I want to multiply my damage, and in order to multiply it, we look for the word more. So more than likely our main clear skill is going to be Rain of Arrows. Connect that to, Unbound Elements. Efficacy has the word more in it. Actually, if I wanted to make this really easy, where it says highlight items, there's a little search box. I could just type in more, and everything that has that word more on it is going to show up. These are all the gems that have this word more inside of it. Ruthless Support. 70% more damage with bleeding caused by melee hits. That's actually a lot. A melee skill might sound good. Who knows, I might switch into melee later. Maim is 10% more physical damage. Supported attacks have 30% chance to maim on hit, and enemies maimed by skills take 10% increased damage. Now, increased is the additive, while that more at the very top, supported skills deal 10% more physical damage. That's what we're looking for. Do I have maim? I have chance to bleed in this build. Chance to bleed does supported attacks deal 39 to 58 added physical damage with weapons. Cool. Supported attacks have a 25% chance to cause bleeding. We want a 100% chance to cause bleeding. This will help us get to our cap if we don't already have it through the tree or through other items. But also, supported attacks deal 18% more damage with bleeding. So flat damage from the notepad does scale with bleeding. So supported attacks deal 39 to 58 added physical damage, but it's with weapons. Now, shooting arrows, having a bow, all that stuff, it might not be considered a weapon. If there's one thing about this game that I do know, it's that the wording is very important. So in all reality, we may not even be getting anything out of this damage with weapons, because we're using a bow. But what we care about is that word more. Supported attacks deal 18% more damage with bleeding, and we only do bleed damage, plus the 25% chance to cause bleeding. So efficacy I'm going to put over here to the side. Maim, I need an orb of transmutation. Let me grab, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. Let's grab 3 of them. So Unbound Elements, more damage with ailments, good. Chance to bleed, more damage over time. And we were looking for more. We had Maim, so more. We have Maim, so let's just add Maim in here. What is this? Deadly Elements and Vicious Projectiles. So I'm just gonna life tap support, melee physical damage support, elemental damage with attacks, damage on full life. Supported attacks deal 20% more damage on full life. That's cool. We're gonna be having a lot of strength anyways. In the last video, you can tell that we went all strength based, which means we're not gonna have a lot of intelligence for these two anyways. So maybe Rain of Arrows, chance to bleed, damage on full life is a good one. Maim support, endurance charge on melee stun, we're not melee. Rage support, damage with weapons, we're using a bow and weapons. I know rage doesn't work with bows. Cruelty support, supported skills deal 15% more damage with hits. We're looking for the bleed damage, but the hit damage does scale with it, and it's 15% more. So the highest hit will be an application of bleed. So I mean, I could just grab this, just to grab it. We'll have it over here at the side somewhere. Inspiration is for critical chance and elemental damage. We don't deal elemental damage. That's burning damage. That is less duration. Here's Fortify. Pulverize support is increased area of effect, but less. That word less, nope. Multi-strike, we have cast on melee kill. Brutality support. Supported skills deal 25% more physical damage. That word more is in there. Bleed could only deal physical damage. So let's grab Brutality, and we'll add that right there. Fist of War, Behead, melee strike range. Fist of War is attacks with supported skills are ancestrally boosted no more than once every 2.5 seconds. Actually, I could pop in Rain of Arrows right here and see if this works. Where it says supportable skills, I'm looking at Rage, and it supports Puncture, but it does not support Rain of Arrows. Cruelty support does support Rain of Arrows. More damage with hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so off the rip, off of all of these red gems, we already have a 6 link. But we can continue, and I'll show you why we're going to continue. That is not, and this works with Puncture. Let's come over here to the green ones. Void Manipulation is 20% more chaos damage, but we are not dealing any chaos damage. Point Blank, supported skills, projectile attack hits deal up to 30% more damage to targets at the start of their movement. Projectile damage does not scale with bleed. We do not care about projectile damage. Vicious Projectiles. Supported skills deal 30% more chaos damage over time. We do not deal chaos damage. We do not care about more chaos damage over time. Supported skills deal 30% more physical damage over time. Physical damage over time is what bleed is, and we get 30% more of that. Cool. Supported skills deal 30% more physical projectile attack damage. We do not care about projectile damage. Supported skills have 10% less projectile attack speed. There's that word that I don't want to see. There's less. So the only thing that we gain out of this gem is 30% more physical damage over time. So I'm just going to grab one and I'm just going to set that right there. Trap and Mine, nope. Deadly Ailments is 30% more damage with ailments. Cool. But supported skills deal 80% less damage with hits. 80% less, 30% more damage with ailments. See, hit damage does deal with bleed, because bleed will take a percentage of the hit that applied it. Now, 80% is more than double what we're gaining from this. Deadly Ailments, no-go. I'm not even going to pick the gem up. That's a no-go. Slower projectiles, less projectile speed, more projectile damage. We do not care about that. Hypothermia, cold damage. Supported skills deal 20% more damage with hits and elements against chilled enemies. Now, if you remember the ring, the Void Puncture, I believe it was, or hold on, let me alt tab to the notepad. What is the name? The Veno Puncture. The Veno Puncture ring. After looking at this ring, bleeding enemies become chilled. And chilled enemies that you kill with a hit shatter. That ring in itself will allow us to use hypothermia. As long as they are bleeding, they are chilled. Supported skills deal 20% more damage with hits and elements against chilled enemies. This can possibly be a great option for us to use. Hypothermia. I'm going to put that next to Vicious Projectiles. Swift Affliction. Supported skills deal 25% more damage over time, 25% less duration of supported skills and damaging elements they inflict. So you'll get 25% more damage, but you'll deal damage not slower, but bleed has a 5-second duration on it, and 25% less would probably drop this down to like a 4-point-something second duration. And if there's one thing we don't want to do, is we don't want to lose our duration. So we're not even going, I guess I can grab a Swift Affliction. I'll just grab one, but it has that word less. We're not going to be using that. Focus Ballista, cast on critical strike. Vile Toxins, more poison damage. We're not dealing poison, and Barrage. Okay. So now that we have an idea of what we can and cannot use for our 6 link, now we get to see which ones give us the greatest improvement. Now, chance to bleed at a level 19 is, 18% more damage with bleeding. That's cool. But Vicious Projectile at level 1 gives us 30% more physical damage over time. Bleeding is physical damage over time. A level 1 Vicious Projectile is better at damage than a level 19 chance to bleed. But this also has a 25% chance to cause bleeding. So depending on our bleed chance, which I'm pretty sure we can cap out 100% bleed chance without using the chance to bleed, we're going to swap out Vicious Projectiles for this chance to bleed. Maim Support, 10% more physical damage at level 1. 30% chance to maim on hit. Now, I'm going to alt tab out real quick. I'm going to run over here to my Chrome and I'm going to look up what maim does. So I'm going to type in the search bar, Path of Exile, maim. Maim Support. Actually, no. I don't want the Maim Support, just maim. Here we go. Maim is a debuff that applies 30% reduced movement speed on the affected target for 4 seconds. So Maim slows them down like Chill does. And when I was first talking about the Venopuncture, using Chill as a type of defense to, you know, keep enemies away, the ones that will run up and start attacking you, Maim could also be used defensively to slow down those targets. It slows down their movement speed. It doesn't slow down their attack speed, but it slows down their movement speed, which can be used defensively. Alright, back to in this game. Okay. So the Maim can be used, but this just is, you know, 10% increased physical damage. Cool. Supported attacks deal 20% more damage on full life. 20% more is very close to 30% more, so damage on full life support is great. But we have to be on full life all the time to use it. So if we were going to use something like this, we would need maybe some type of leech to stay on full life. This is not guaranteed damage, because if you take one hit and you even lose 1 HP, you are no longer on full life. So this damage on full life is subject to change. We could maybe throw in the hypothermia if we get the Venopuncture. When we don't have the Venopuncture, we could use Chance to Bleed. So we can have Vicious Projectiles, Rain of Arrows, you know, Maim, Chance to Bleed. Brutality is 25% more. Do we have anything in here that is 25% more? Right here. What about Cruelty? Cruelty deals 15% more damage with hits. Cruelty has a base duration of 4 seconds, and hits from supported skills grant Cruelty. Now, what is Cruelty? Let's go look it up. In the search bar, PoE, Cruelty. Cruelty. Cruelty is a buff that grants more damage over time to skills supported by Cruelty. Notice that word, more damage over time. So not only are we getting 15% more damage with hits, we're getting more damage over time. I'd like to know how much, though. Does this tell us how much? Cruelty grants more damage over time with supported skills based on percent of maximum health removed by a damaging hit. It lasts 4 seconds by default, so 1 less than bleed, and has a maximum effect of 50%, which is unaffected by modifiers to its effect. The effect of Cruelty is calculated using the following formula. E equals parentheses 1 plus M end parentheses times parentheses D over L end parentheses and exponential 0.2. Where D is the amount of damage caused by the hit and L is the enemy's maximum life, the M is the sum of increases to Cruelty effect. I'm not doing math right now. Fuck math. I love math. Math is life. But fuck math. I'm not doing that. That's not what we're doing right now. So I'm just gonna say that it's safe to say that Cruelty is probably the best in slot. So we have a 6th link right now that seems pretty good. But, you know, 18% more or a base of 20% more. 10% increased physical damage at level 1. What is chance to bleed at level 1? Hold on. Chance to bleed at level 1 is... Did they take away the more for chance to bleed? They did. Chance of bleed no longer has more damage attached to it. Supported attacks deal 18% more damage with bleeding. That is no longer a mod on the new ones. So we're going to take that out and add hypothermia. And we're going to run with hypothermia until we get the venopuncture. Cool. Now we have our we have our 6-link setup for our clear, which is going to be Rain of Arrows, Vicious Projectiles, Maim Support, which is still kind of subject to change, you know, depending on if we can get some leech or if we're full life, damage on full life, Cruelty Support, Brutality, Maim, Deadly Elements, but 80% less damage with hits, nah, Unbound Elements, 17% more, like, we would need intelligence to use these. So, I mean, Maim could totally be taken out since it's not doing that much. Vicious Projectiles is doing a lot for us. But, 30% more physical damage over time is a lot. Like, you wouldn't want to get rid of something like that. But, I mean, we could take Maim out depending on how much intelligence we get on gear. And throw in Unbound Ailments, which will also increase the duration of the elements. We have Efficacy, which is 22% more damage over time. Now, what's bigger? 17% more damage with elements, and you get an increased duration, or Efficacy, which is just 22% more damage over time. I'm pretty sure Efficacy will take that spot. Hypothermia is still... Wait, base value. That's what I'm looking at, base value. 1 second. Unbound Elements is 10% more, so... It's about the same as a Maim, which really isn't that much. And Efficacy... Where's Efficacy at? I feel like I was just looking at it. Right here. No, that's Infused Channeling. And Efficacy is 15% more. So 15 is already bigger than 10. We have 30. We have 20. We have 25. And we have 15. So I guess another 20 would be Efficacy. So yeah, I mean... that would be a general 6-link right there. Rain of Arrows, Vicious Projectiles, Efficacy, Hypothermia, Brutality, and Cruelty. Looks pretty good, but the only time we could use Hypothermia is when we get Venopuncture. So I guess the basic 5-link setup, because getting a 5-link early is going to be pretty easy, would probably be like Vicious Projectiles, Brutality, Cruelty, and maybe Efficacy. Yeah. But if we don't have enough intelligence early game for Efficacy, then we could swap in something like Maim or damage on full life. But since they took the more damage multiplier away from bleed, something I'm not seeing on this, probably comes with levels. But yeah. So these 3 are going to be subject to change. And then if we get the Venopuncture, we'll just put in Hypothermia. But that's going to be the general 6-link setup. And then we're going to take the biggest values that we're getting and probably put it in the Asylum. So it's going to be Puncture, Vicious Projectiles. We are not using Deadly Elements. We'll probably pop in a Cruelty and a Brutality. Getting 2 red and 2 green on one of these is just going to take a Benchcraft. Actually, if I wanted to, I could probably do that right now, but I'm not going to. But it's going to be like Puncture, Vicious Projectiles, Brutality, and Cruelty. is how that's going to work out in the Asylum. And then we'll have our single target puncture and our 5 link, 6 link clear, which probably armor or bow, one of those two. And then we have Ensnaring Arrow, which is just another big improvement, depending on if we go Crimson Dance or not. See, we may not even be using puncture, but going Crimson Dance this early, I know that the Asylum is going to be expensive early game. I know that the Asylum is really, really good when it comes to bleed. I know Ensnaring Arrow is also really good also. So, to end up the gems that we're going to be using for damage, because of course we're probably going to have our Immortal Call, Malevolence is going to be a aura that we're going to run. Should be the only aura that we run. Is you and nearby allies deal 19% more damage over time. And that word more connected to damage over time is pretty good. It's going to be about 20. And then what do we have? I had Flame Golem connected to Culling Strike. And Flame Golem is just increased damage, which also bluffs. Increased damage also buffs bleed damage. But, of course, we're going to need our cast when damage taken, a Mortal Call setup somewhere. Probably if I wanted to, I could do a weapon swap with a hammer or something to leap around, weapon swap, and then leap, gain endurance charges while I'm leaping, and then switch back. But leaping around doesn't seem good with a bow skill because I kind of just sit back anyways. Who knows the playstyle I'm going to do for this. But, yeah. That is what we're going to be using. It will be Puncture, Vicious Projectile, Cruelty, and Brutality in the Asylum when we get it. Until then, it's just going to be a generic... That's going to be the generic setup of Puncture in a helm or in my gloves or in the boots until we get the Asylum. And the 4-link is probably still going to be Rain of Arrows, Vicious Projectiles, Cruelty, and Brutality until we get the 5-link, and it's going to be either damage on full life, maim, or efficacy for the 5-link. And then our 6th-link, we're going to drop in Hypothermia, and that's when we get the Veno Puncture. That's how our gem setup is going to look. Yes! Should be great. Sounds like a great setup. Our armor and stuff, I'll go look for bases here pretty soon. See if we can get some pretty decent armor evasion bases, but that's just the general gem setup for our bleed Rain of Arrows guy that we have. I kind of want to take this off though. Do I have anything else I can throw onto this guy? Maps, uniques, just if I wanted to get him going right now. I have 2 Asylums, by the way. Brutality, Puncture, Awakened, Vicious Projectiles, and Awakened Deadly Ailments. I have no idea why I would ever use Deadly Ailments. That's just a bad gem. But I'm looking for armor. Bronze Lith is a 6-link. Comes with tons of evasion. Do I have any other 6-link? Increased attack speed, increased evasion. The evasion rating on that is so low. 6-link Dendrobait, no. Get that the hell out of here. And Impulsas, no. Combs, no. It's only a 5-link Lore Weaves. A Lionized Vision comes with Pierce, but we're not using Pierce. Queen of the Forest, no. I actually enjoy this Shroud of the Lightless. This Carnell armor is pretty dope. But it's elemental penetration, and we're not doing elemental damage. We're only doing physical. Why do I not have a tab? I should have a tabula somewhere. No. Here it is. Here's the tabula. Taking out this cost priest. And I'm gonna put the cost priest in there. I also have an Atzeres. Does the Atzeres have the color on it? Where'd it go? Hey, Atzeres. I thought I just saw an Atzeres somewhere. Here it is. But it's too blue. No, that's not what we need. We're not doing Barrage. We're not doing Cast on Critical Strike. We're not doing Ice Nova. We're not doing this. No. What was I thinking? You guys ever go back to a build and ask yourself, what the hell was I thinking? That's what this is. Do I have a Venopuncture now? I guess that's the ultimate question. And I'll just put Malevolence right there. That and enemies maimed by supported skills take 10% increased physical damage. More damage over time. Efficacy. Yeah. What else? That's right, Venopuncture. Do I have a Venopuncture? Can I just type in Veno? V-E. No, I do not have a Venopuncture. That sucks. Maybe I got one in one of these tabs. Do I have a Venopuncture in here? A replica Emberwake. I know exactly where that was from. That came from Heist League. Storm Secret. Nope. Nope. No Venopuncture. I thought I had one somewhere. Here's uniques, remove only. It's gonna be a way down here at the bottom. Nope. What about right here? I do not have a Venopuncture at all. Maybe I should get one. I got an Ice Fang. That's for poison, that's not for bleed. No Venopuncture. I got a Void Eye also. Alright. I should have ended this video a while back, but yeah, I just want to see what this is going to be like. I have no way to regain mana either. I don't need the Aspect of the Cat. I don't know why I have that there. But I just want to see something. These are practically all level 1 gems. Ooh. I will grab that. That seems pretty cool. Everything still pops. I got frenzy charges from somewhere. I don't know where I got them from. I'm gonna need more dexterity to upgrade these gems also. Why didn't you die yet? There you go. Supported skills deal more damage over time. That said what, 40%, right? Yeah, 40% for 5 seconds. So 40% more damage over time? Is that what that's saying? Okay, this seems pretty cool. I like that. That's pretty dope. I might have to go and buy the MTX for this also. Alright, I like it. I like the setup. So this is what we're doing. Bleed Bow, Gladiator, Rain of Arrows. That's the build for Scourge League. That's our gem setup. I like it. And if you guys liked the video, you found it informative, give it a like. And if you want more content like this, subscribe. Hit the bell notification. I'll see you all in the next video. I think I'm going to sit here and play around with this for a little bit. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.